Somebody was pushing back on X today. This person said, why would you push bourgeois and proletarian categories that have long since stopped being meaningful representations of the economy? My thing is that this left-right binary is problematic. I would argue that you could have left-right of proletarians and left-right bourgeois in terms of especially cultural practices and whatnot. And I forget that this will sound really 19th century or 18th century if we're talking about the proletariat and the bourgeoisie. So if you could say a bit about that, au contraire, these are still very meaningful categories that do reflect material processes in particular. Not to put words in your mouth, Joti.
No, 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 100%. I would really appeal to people who bought into the idea that this is all somehow something very historical to actually read Marx's Capital, read Lenin's Imperialism for yourself. They're perfectly approachable books. There's not some kind of mystique about them. You've been encouraged to feel like, there's a big barrier between you and that, precisely because the knowledge is so powerful. But what is a proletarian? A proletarian is someone who lives in the capitalist system and has no means of production with which to feed himself and his family, and therefore has to sell his labor power to an employer in order to eat, pay his bills, take care of himself and his family. So is that not most of us? If you sell yourself for a wage and you have no other way to feed yourself, and if you didn't have a pay packet for a couple of months, you'd be destitute, you are a proletarian, right? The bourgeois are the owners of the means of production, right? They are people who have enough access to enough capital that they can use that capital to employ others to make them still richer. That's the basis of the capitalist society. If you read Capital, you can get a fantastic lesson in how that developed, what it developed out of, and what it's developing towards. It shows you also the contradictions that capitalist production for profit creates and cannot solve. And it shows you the solution to those contradictions and the direction in which capitalist society is taking us, which is towards a planned economy, right? And the result of scientific investigation. So it's not some dreamers went, wouldn't it be nice if things were nicer?